Hello everyone, like I said in the introduction video, I will talk about in contact with refugees. To make a link to our sustainable development goals is for education that refugees mostly do not have access to education because they are on the run for certain circumstances. It could be that they're running for family reasons, for war in their country, or maybe it is for financial problems in their countries. When they are on the run, they have mostly not enough money to spare for education. An example is there was a family that went to Dunkirk and they needed to pay some smugglers for traveling with them to another country. They need to pay those smugglers always a lot of money. For example, a trip from Dunkirk to England would be 7,000 euros, and that only to cross the sea. So they do not have enough money anymore for sending their two children to school. Another downside to be a refugee is that the schools are not available to them because they do not have the right documentations or visa. Only in Turkey they don't need a visa to live in that country, and they could go to school if they have enough money. But in the most countries in Europe they need a visa. Because the people do not have the right documentations, they can't stay in that particular country they stranded on, and they need to move. That is also to have a difficulty to have access to school. The NGO Humane helps those people to find their way. The NGO helps them to get food, clothing, and the most important thing, a good talk. There were a lot of people that were sad and frightened when they arrived, but when the people of the NGO Humane went for a talk, they could do their stories and feel a bit better. Also, because of the lack of documentations, the people are pursued by the police who will destroy their camps and take everything from them. The NGO Humane wants also to hire a mobile school. It's a kind of bus that have a team on it that provide education to children on the streets. They need such a mobile school for giving education towards the children who are also on the run. But the problem with that is the children do not stay long enough at one place because they were hounded by the police. To hire such a mobile school, they need to map out a route to do with the school, and they need to present that route to selling company of the school bus before they can hire it. Because of the police, it isn't possible to hire a mobile school because they hound down the refugees. Another difficulty is that when they travel, they need to find a country to live in. But that isn't always that simple to do. Most of the time, the people don't know much about countries than England. So most of the people want to run to England, but most of the time they don't have enough money, like I said before. When parents or the children don't know their final destination, it is hard to give a lesson about some language they will need because you don't know which language you need to teach. I would suggest that there would be education for the adults too about the other countries in Europe so they have a better point of view for where they will stay for the rest of their lives. The NGO Humane are working with some of other NGOs like 111111, Refugees Flanders. Also, they work with volunteers who help the people on the road. But most of the time, the NGO Humane works alone. What the NGOs don't do is work with the government, because the government isn't that supportive of the initiative. They receive their money from donations from other people who wants to make a difference, and that money they invest in the refugees. They need those partnerships to get to their goals. A more humane view at refugees is their first goal, and reducing the violations of human rights is the second goal. The differences in the cultures are that when they leave their country, they need to adapt to the habits of the local of another country. When they don't follow their habits, they can get in trouble. For example, when someone goes to Turkey, they need to adapt themselves. They need to respect another god there, and the food habits are also different. Like they can't eat pork because of their religion. And when they would sleep with a married woman, they can get in big trouble. They can go to jail and maybe even get a death sentence. Those affairs are things we don't have to fear in Belgium. What I learned from cultural sensitive care is that everyone has the right to have medical attention and basic education. Most of the time refugees doesn't have much money, so they can't afford a doctor, so they will not get the attention they need. For example, a man needs medical attentions for an oncologic problem, but he didn't have the money to pay the doctor, and the doctor sent the man away without helping the man at all. Also, I think education for children is important to even have the possibility to adapt in other countries. Because of the lack for money, I think they deserve at least free school until they pass primary school. Mental health is an important thing to get hold on. When the people have a good mental health, the evolution to adapt is more present. So I take with me that we need to take care of the mental health of everyone. And for the time I will work, I certainly will spend more attention to take time to talk with people who needs any kind of care. Also, when I am in the field of work, I will put every preconceptions aside to help those persons who need care. I don't have the right to judge people because I don't know their background stories, so I need to help everyone. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a better view on the refugees.